4D pickup truck towing a Christmas tree acrylic nail art tutorial by Hotpinkzebrapolish.
Hi guys, in today's video I have a 4D pickup truck that has a Christmas tree or an evergreen tree in the bed of the truck, and this whole thing has a whole bunch of Madam Glam colors that I got in the advent calendar. So it's got a lot of painting on it, and that actually adds a lot of depth using gel colors to do some of the detail. It makes the paint job on the truck look fantastic. The 4D element of this is the little wheels that spin. I hope you guys like this as much as I do. It's a little bit less like over Christmassy of a Christmas design while still being red and green. So that's kind of cool, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
So I'm going to begin with just an overlay of clear acrylic. Like I said, I'm using some of the colors that came in the advent calendar from Madam Glam, so I wanted to be able to use one of those in the background, so I figured a clear overlay would work well just to get a base on there. And if you're sculpting this on yourself, you know, if you want to have, you could paint this over the top if you have acrylic, something that's encased that you want to paint over from before, for sure, or, you know, whatever you want to use to create your base. And then I'm going to be filing the nail into shape with my E-file, starting out with a coarse bit to remove any bulk, and then switching to a finer bit just to go over it and make it a little smoother. This is the same basic process. I mean, if you have a gel overlay or polygel or whatever it is that you have on there, it's fine. Just have a nice base started out for your nail. And then after you have that done, we're going to be painting it with 2 coats of the color Glittery Emerald, which is absolutely stunning, and a color that I definitely feel I should be adding to my collection in the full size because it is just so beautiful. So there's the second coat. Cure after each coat, and then after you have that, I applied a layer of matte gel top coat and cured it again. So now on a nail form backing, I'm going to start sculpting my pickup truck with red acrylic. Begin just kind of any place you want on it and sculpt one little piece of the truck at a time. So I'm going to start with the cabin of the truck, and it can be very pancake thin in the beginning. Just try to get that base shape down. That's the biggest part in the beginning, is you just want to try to get kind of a good sketch of the design in place. Sculpt out the wheel well, and just the same thing, kind of work with it. Use the tip of your brush to carve out all the little details that are needed. Kind of sharpen up the lines as you go. As your acrylic sets, it'll hold up the shape that you're creating a little bit better, and it'll just work a little easier. So don't necessarily try to get everything perfect very beginning when you first set your bead down. Take your time and just let it start to solidify before you go too crazy with it. Then after you have that part done, add the start to the bed of the truck coming out the back. And there's so many different kinds. I mean, if you are a Ford person, you can definitely make sure that this looks like a Ford truck or Chevy or Toyota or whatever you want to do. I mean, you can personalize it that way, or if you drive a truck, you could make it your own and do it a different color, or, you know, whatever you want. And then after I have that done, at this point, I'm going to sculpt my 2 tires with black acrylic. They pretty much just look like a circle at this point. And I'm going to go back through and add the wheel well for the rear wheel. That one is, the reason I didn't do it in the beginning is because the acrylic wasn't set up enough. It wouldn't have held its shape anyway. So then add the second wheel back there. And as you can see, I've got the one wheel that's setting up just enough, and then I'm going to take a little toothpick and I'm going to create the hole in the center of it. And if you aren't planning on making your wheels 4D, you can just skip over. You don't have to worry about making that hole. Then going back with more of your red acrylic, go ahead and kind of thicken up your lines, add some more details, and sort of do some extra finishing touches there, again, piece by piece. So as you're working over the front of the pickup truck, you might want to carve in a couple of the details. If you want to work on carving in some of the door, you can do that, depending on how much detail you really want to go into. The one thing I did is I took a little dotting tool, as you can see here, and I'm just kind of carving out where the window is so I can fill that in with a different color and have a little bit of a slight indent where the window sits. So you can do that. I also use my handy little toothpick. And don't be like me and forget about making the hole in your second wheel. I left that one a little bit too long. But just keep going over it. You can add the headlight if you want. That I'll actually do with blue in a minute. But same thing, you just keep going and add as many details as you want to. You can add a 3D door handle. I mean, there's just so much that you can do. So then I'm going to go and add a second coat of acrylic over the bed of my pickup truck. Just sculpt that and try to keep all of your lines as crisp as they were in the beginning. Then here I am taking a little bit of a kind of a medium shimmery blue, and I'm going to be filling in that front window. And then I'm going to take and thicken up just right around the fenders of the truck. Keep going and adding all these little details. And when you're adding something like the fenders, you may want to take those down a little bit below that line, that original line, as you can see, and add those. And any of this stuff, if you don't want to add any of these details, you can certainly skip them and then just try to represent them with the gel colors or acrylic paint later. So it's up to you exactly how much you want to do. You could have started out and just done a basic truck shape and painted everything. That would definitely work as well. So here's this front fender going through like that, going up and across, a nice little rainbow arc going up and over. Try to be cognizant to leave enough space for your wheel to spin. So you want to make sure that you don't make your wheel area too small for the wheel that you made. Go through like so. And then after you have that done, I also took and I sculpted a little bit of the windshield on the front of my truck that I didn't do in the beginning for who knows what reason, but I did go back and I added that as well as my headlight. So just take a little bit more of that blue and add that in front, just like so. It doesn't take really too much, just a tiny little sliver of it to show that, you know, the driver can actually see. And as you're working on this, you can definitely keep going through and adding as many layers as you want, as many details as you want. It's kind of a situation of you can take it as far as you'd like, and yeah, it's one of those fun little projects that is pretty relaxed as far as how detailed you want to be. There I added the headlight, and then I'm going to be sculpting the tree with green acrylic. So I sculpted it right above my truck just so I could kind of get an eyeball estimation of how big to make it. And then take the tip of your brush after you have a green long skinny triangle made and just sort of flick out the edges to create that little evergreen silhouette. And then after you have that and your green acrylic starts to set up a little bit, take and just sort of beat up the middle of the tree so that it has some texture to it and isn't just flat pancake. And then after you have that, you can start assembling your truck. So I just kind of eyeballed to see how it looked on the nail first, but then you can take and glue your tree into the bed of the truck. Just a little bit of nail glue, hold that in place for a second till it sets up. And then you can glue your truck to the nail. Just stick some nail glue here and there on the back of the truck and then hold that in place until it begins to set up. And after you have it that far, you may want to secure it with some clear acrylic behind the truck. So just fill in, especially that Christmas tree is very, very, very thin. And it would easily break, especially all those little tips of the pine tree. So you want to fill in all of those so that it's not so fragile. Then I'm going to take a little piece of wire and dip it into some jewelry gel and then attach a silver star rhinestone to the end of it. Then I'm going to glue that piece of wire with the silver star rhinestone to the nail, and I have my little wheel strung on it, so it's got that little silver star rhinestone is the stopper to keep the wheel from just flying off the end of the wire, as well as it kind of looks like a hubcap. So go ahead and do that for the second one. String your little wheel onto your wire, which is sometimes easier said than done. My nails are super short right now, and sometimes I feel like I'm, incapable of functioning without nails on. Or without length on my nails. I don't usually have acrylics on or anything, but without length on my nails, I feel like I just can't even think. So now I'm going to take the color True Fire Brick Red, and I'm going to be adding little highlights and details and little bits here and there all over the truck. And as you can see, that color is significantly brighter than the red acrylic that I used, which allows you so much opportunity for highlighting this truck. And having those significant highlights and shadows on your red makes the paint look super deep and very realistic. So just go ahead and highlight your fenders, highlight everything that you think needs it. And the great thing with gel polish is it's pretty easy to blend it out so you don't have the sharp lines. And then flash cue this whenever you feel like is needed. Then I'm going to take the color Shimmer White and add some highlights starting on my two windows, the passenger window and then the windshield, and then little highlights here and there on top of the red just to further them. And that shimmer quality of this Shimmer White adds, again, so much depth to the paint job. Just add those little bits of gel and then blend them out again. And then I'm going to take the color Glittery Emerald, which is the same color that I used in the background, and the color Lost in the Woods, which is just a true green. And I'm going to be adding some details to my tree. Just little flicks here and there to kind of add some darkness and some depth, define the different boughs. Just go through like so. And that color, the Lost in the Woods, is just slightly darker than the green acrylic that I used. So now I'm going to take some black acrylic paint and I'm going to add outlines here and there, some definition. And this is where I said if you didn't want to sculpt in as much, you could definitely do all of this with paint. It would be just fine. So just go through and add every little detail you want to, add some white, really bright white highlights, and then finish with a layer of matte top coat over the truck and over the tree. And you're all done. I hope you guys like this design as much as my dad and my husband do. They're both in awe of it. They are car people or truck people or whatever you want to say. So please share recreations with me on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!